Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are in the country. My name is Bob Wright. I'm here with Carmelle for the Transitioning Show. Hello, Carmelle.
Hello.
Hello.
How's everyone?
Yes. Everybody out there in the chat rooms, everybody who's tuning in, welcome to the show. We've got a really interesting show to talk about tonight because it's very, very relevant, and I think this conversation is a conversation that we all need to talk about, considering what's been going on lately. If any of you have, all of you who are tuned in are pretty much turned on. Tuned in, turned on. I love that. You've been feeling the energy, and I've been, we've got our own little Skype chat rooms that we throw ideas out at each other and have general discussions and debates and whatnot. And I was asking in the girls' room, because the girls seem to be very, very energetically sensitive, even more so. So I was asking the sensitives in the girls' room, I was like, what is this feel? Yes, for those of you, I'm in the girls' room. What is this feeling that I've been feeling, this energy? What it felt like was this: if you were standing on a beach and you watched the water as the waves, as the water recedes before a wave crashes, I'm watching the water recede and recede and recede, to tsunami-like proportions. It's just gone way, way, way back there. And I'm thinking to myself, the wave that's ensuing is just beyond imagination. And every time I would energetically try to go in to take a look and ask, what does this mean? What does this entail? What can we expect? I kept getting a wink, literally like an eye just kind of winking at me, and I'm like, what in the world is this? Like, I'm not getting any answers. I know that things are, we're entering into new energies and everything. And then the other day, I was determined to find out what this big, huge wave, this wall. At this point, it's a wall that I can't see the top of. And I'm like, what are you? What's your purpose? What's going on? And the clear answer I got, and excuse it for sounding so biblical, but this is what I got: behold and see the glory of God. And then I realized whatever this energy is that's coming, this is Source itself in action. And I'm not talking about the individual portion of Source that we're each connected to, but collective Source in action. And I was like, whoa. This is what I think everyone is referring to as, quote unquote, the event, the big one, the great shift, the thing that everyone's been waiting for. And this is what we want to talk about today. And I really, really, really would love for those of you who are out in the chat room, those who are listening, to please call in and share your thoughts and ideas on this energy surge that is coming through. I'm going on a limb and saying, I have never energetically felt anything this ginormous ever.
Ginormous. It's a great word.
Yes, this ginormous.
Goes with a great image of the tsunami, this great wave.
The voice that came through in my consciousness was also equally as big. Awe-inspiring to say the least. And I have to say, if this is not it, the big IT, I don't know what is.
So you asked, what is it? And the words were, just watch?
behold,
yeah,
see the glory of God.
Here it comes. Hang on to your hat. Wink, wink. Here we go. So, is everyone having fun? Is everyone having fun? Or
well, you know what? It's funny because I mentioned this. Everybody's being affected by this energy in different ways, and I guess it kind of really depends where you are in your own internal work. Because people who are still giving energy to the old paradigm, still clinging to the old paradigm, are having a real difficult time. It's not going very easy. I mentioned this before earlier, talking with the girls in the girls' room, that it seems as though they're like a cornered animal, and they're reacting as though that they're cornered. Like the experiences that they're put into is basically bringing out all of their stuff, and it's, to them, it seems as though that they're being attacked, almost, but it's really just their own stuff coming up. So if you have people like that in your life, you're probably seeing them really going, abnormally. What's the word I want to look? And I don't want to paint them in a negative way, but abnormally contrasting.
Abnormally contrasting.
Yes.
So within themselves, within their own reality, breakdown within their own reality.
Yeah, they're having emotional, energetic breakdowns. And for others, they're experiencing different physical sensations. Me, I've had a headache for a week. It's just this constant pressure on my crown, aches in my joints, especially in the back of my neck and my shoulders.
Yeah, I've had a neck ache this week myself. Yeah.
Aside from that, I feel excited as hell. Like more jumping out of my skin, like I'm going like I'm going to explode any second. And at the same time as feeling that energetic, periods of extreme lethargy.
Mm-hmm.
Just zonked.
Well, somebody in the chat room has likened this, and I have written about this recently myself. Likened it to the sensations that we're feeling, the pressures of just about that you feel when you're just about to give birth. I mean, you are so excited. You got hormones that are ramping up, and you've got other hormones that are ramping down at the same time, and it is quite a ride. Talk about a rush.
Well, I'll have to let you speak to that, Carmelle. I have never been pregnant.
Yeah, and so the women who've had babies, go, yeah, that's exactly what I'm feeling, except that we're missing the sharp birthing pains, that go along with that. But I think that there's an essence of birth that is truly happening right now. Me personally, I'm not seeing tsunamis when I close my eyes, but I am feeling like rushing the door. I mean, I'm really feeling like that's it. I'm going through. I'm doing this. I'm going through. I'm just gonna be, the love that I want to see in the world. And in the meantime, I have this dustpan with me that I'm cleaning up the things that are falling off around me.
Yeah. Well, there's we talked about this earlier, about this deconstruction that's happening to everyone. That anything that does not serve is getting pushed away, pushed out, and this is internally and externally. People are dropping that which does not serve, and that may be in the form of jobs, it may be in the form of relationships, it may be in form of your diet changing. And people are making these decisions almost, it seems like, just out of nowhere. Just, I quit.
That's really funny.
A friend of mine just came in my house yesterday, and he's pretty high. He works, in a travel agency, Travelocity. He's one of the management team. And he just came in and he's like, well, that's it. I tendered my resignation. I was like, oh, really? You going to another job? He's like, no, don't have no other job lined up. I just can't take it anymore. And
Yes, sudden unexpected events. I translate. I look at things through the lens of time. It's just comfortable for me. So when I look at these, I hear people using these key words. Suddenly people are making moves. They're quitting jobs. They're leaving, and it looks like it's sudden, because it almost looks like it's unprovoked, and then boom, you get an idea, or you get this urge, you get this emotional response that says, move it, and move it now. The coast is clear somehow. So, kudos to the people who are making decisions regarding things that are not working in their life and just trusting and taking the step. It's really awesome.
Well, I look at it, for a lot of people when this is happening, they may perceive it, as though something is happening to them. And we talked about this earlier, and this is another subject I really think we need to get into, and that's that feeling of judgment, impending judgment. For those, especially for those who are in leading positions, the powers that were, and people were describing this feeling of intense despair coming from them, fear, militaries mobilizing, FEMA camp, people, they sense this energy is coming, and there's this fear of judgment. And that's something that I think we all need to talk about and discuss, because, and I mentioned this before, when I look at, the powers that were, the elite, the 1%, whoever you want to call it, the Illuminati, the ruling families, I look at where we are today, and here it is, August 2013, and we're at the end of the experiment, at the end, very, very end of the game, and we're still trying to explain to certain people what's actually happened. People are still unaware that they're even living in a matrix. They have done their job so well, impeccably well, that the majority of the planet was completely, ignorant to the fact that they even existed. And when I look at that, and I was like, wow, what they have pulled off, what they were able to accomplish, and how well that they have executed their job, and understand it is a role that they were playing that needed to be played.
Correct. Yes. It's all good.
And I when I look at, and I want to, on the air say to them, no judgment, only gratitude. You've done your job better, and then I liken to it like, watching a really, really good performance in acting, like Heath Ledger in playing the Joker. Brilliant. Jack Nicholson in The Shining. I mean, brilliant displays of doing their role and playing their part. And so for that, I am ever grateful. But what I would like to say is, the game is over. The curtains, we've done our final curtain calls. The curtain is going down, and now it's time to go to the after party. And nobody, when you come to the after party, these people, they deserve an Academy Award. I'm volunteering to nominate them for the Academy Award, winners in this whole game and playing their part.
Well, we certainly do have to have gratitude for the contrast. It shows us our preferences, for real. And the people in our lives that are separating and moving away from us taught us as well. And the decisions that we're making, and the situations that we're living in that no longer serve us. They're all the same. I mean, you think about it, it's all the same entity. Contrast is contrast is contrast. No matter who's wearing the mask, be it yourself or an outside entity or an outside situation in the mirror. So,
My apologies.
compassion is definitely at the top of the list for sure. But lots of people are imploding right now because there's still self-forgiveness. There's still self-love that is on the uptake. The people that I'm seeing and the people that I hear speaking, they're working through these things really quickly. They're going as fast as they can. They're attempting to take on their responsibility more. I'm seeing more. So that in itself feels like part of the wave, the pulling back of that wave before it moves forward. It's like, wait a minute, let me gather all my strength here before I can, thrust this energy forward into that new time, the new life.
We've got Thomas Hughes here along with us, and Tommy is a really good friend of mine, and I know that this is a subject that's dear to his heart, so I invited him to give his 2 cents in about this this upcoming event, because the way I'm perceiving it, this is, if it happened today, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, this is like right here, right in front of us. This is the next moments of now forthcoming is the event. I mean, this energy is huge. It's ginormous. So I told Tommy that's what we were going to talk about, and he says, I just might have to say something about that. So here he is. Welcome, Tom.
Hi, Tom.
Hi, Carmelle. Hi, Bob. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, anytime, Tommy. Anytime.
I don't know when the actual shift is going to take place. I know that I know very little, actually. I won't say I know a whole lot, but what I do know is that each full moon that goes by this year, a chakra is activating. And so we've already gone through 7 chakras overriding or doing away with the old chakra system. And this is the next one. It'll be the 8th chakra. Normally we only have 7, but we're going towards 13 because our harmonic resonance is going to match that of the planet. And the chakra that is about to go active is the Well of Dreams chakra. So it would not surprise me at all if a shift does occur. But I cannot say that it's going to happen now or not. All I can say is that I'm ready for it when it does occur.
Yeah. Well, ready or not, it's going to occur. I'm not putting any dates on it or anything. I just feel this is something that we need to talk about right now.
Oh, yeah.
And it's something that I don't know. Anybody who tells you that they know what's going to happen, I don't know. I've heard lots of different ideas and concepts that I know what my internal self is telling me. That we're entering, and it's funny you mentioned that this is the Well of Dreaming. We're entering into our dream reality. That our dream reality is replacing our waking reality.
Well, and if I may, I'd like to go ahead and give you the old chakra system. This has significance, and I'll speak about this because up until 2007, the harmonic resonance or the Schumann resonance of the planet, however you know it, was 7 beats per second or 7 hertz. From the fall of 2007 to the fall of 2010, that frequency increased to 13 hertz. And as such, we are going to a new 13 chakra system within the human body. So I put the old chakra system there and the new chakra system. And you can see number 8 is Well of Dreams. And so what that means, how I interpret that, the way I see it, is that whatever we dream, if we're concise and clear about it and don't muddle it with all sorts of other thoughts, but if we stay focused on what we dream, that comes into our reality, and we start living that reality.
Well, I hope everybody's dreaming big and nobody's having any nightmares, because I believe those are coming real for people as well. Whatever fears that you're still embodying, are coming forward. Any of these residual energies of resentment and guilt, these things are coming forward in your lives as experiences to mirror what's going on inside. And they're coming forth in such a way that it almost slaps you across the face.
Yeah, sometimes it does. Sometimes it does. Sure it does. And that's what I was talking about when I mentioned, as we're walking, I've got this little dustpan. I'm cleaning up the things that are falling up off of me. There are things that are coming up that I actually didn't recognize that I had, that I was doing, that I was holding. And sometimes it's a shock to look at those, look at that little that little harvest. But you love it. You find your self-love. You find your presence again. You get back into now, and you go, oh, that's right, silly me. That was then, but this is now. This is what I'm choosing for now. No matter what the projections are, you still only have now. Your now will create your then. You're going to stay in a linear time reality. So those things that are coming up now.
Well, you're seeing a lot of things happening externally. The Pope has been issuing. Now I think this is his third one this year, motu proprio, which is basically an edict coming directly from the Vatican. Basically telling everyone that there's no longer immunity for prosecution for anyone that are under Roman Curia law, which is, and mind you, that is all the elite. All of the ruling classes are under that jurisdiction. Also, an edict that there will be no more financial fraud, or what he called financial terrorism, will no longer be tolerated, will no longer be allowed. People are resigning their positions, abdicating their thrones. You're seeing a lot of activity.
Mirroring what's happening to each and every person who's going through this.
Exactly.
And I just wanted to say that I was waiting to see what was going to happen with him, but I don't know if the people at the Vatican really understood what they were doing when they put a part Indian in as a pope, because he is an Indian from Argentina.
Well, there's something operating in him, different than his predecessors.
Oh yeah.
And this is a concept I think people have to really come to terms with. The awakening is happening to everyone. No one is being excluded. Something is going on inside the embodiment of every living thing on this planet.
Yes.
Well, Bob, you realize back in December I was on the show, on that countdown show, and I talked about the Sasquatch people.
A lot of activity going on with them.
Extremely. And I just talked to a woman in Canada a couple nights ago that is half Ojibwe. And she was crying on the phone because I was validating things that the Sasquatch people had told her and visions she had. And that was not my intention, but they were, tears of joy. I still didn't want her to cry, though, because it was, she was so happy to hear some of these things. And I'm also working with other people. And God, I'm so glad I retired from hosting a show back in January, because if you want to call it a workload, my workload has increased exponentially with all the people I'm working with on Sasquatch right now.
Well, I've been watching some of the videos that you've been posting, Tom, and it seems as though that they are making themselves very, very visible for Sasquatch, that is, Sasquatch are notoriously, private and kind of to themselves.
There's lots of species that are suddenly not so mysterious anymore, I've noticed. Lots of them. And I the only thing I can, I go, whoa, man, these frequencies are bringing everybody into activity right now.
A
cohesive. Hey, we're here. I mean, you may have heard myths about us, but yeah, we're really here, and we're part of this. You know.
Fairies, elves, gnomes, and you know what? It may sound like I'm crazy talking about these things, but these creatures, they're not in our history, in our mythology, and in our consciousness for no reason.
Right.
You know?
Right.
And it's not just an American consciousness. Every continent on the planet has names for these entities. Every one.
Something that came through me, because obviously we're all remembering who we are in this process that we're going through, and it takes on different forms and shapes and manifestations. So one day, I was asked the question again by someone that works with me, what am I? And I said, I'm a soul. Okay, keep going. What else are you? I'm a soul in a human skin suit. Okay, keep going. I said, I'm a Texan. Okay, keep going. I'm a citizen of the United States. Okay, keep going. I don't know what else I am. Well, at the root of everything you said, starting with a soul in a human skin suit, the very next thing might have been, you're a citizen of this world. I said, okay. So I'm a citizen of the world before I'm anything else. Before I'm a Texan, before I'm an American, I'm a citizen of this world.
An earthling.
Yes, and everybody is.
Yep. Even the animals, the trees, they're all earthlings. You know,
sure.
we are sharing a common space, a common mother we call Gaia. We're sharing a common consciousness. So whatever is happening, for this is happening for everyone. Plants, animals, insects, people, even the elementals and the planet itself. Crystals have been singing. I don't know if anybody has the ability to hear crystals, but they've been singing loudly lately. People are writing, yes, animal behavior is different. Their interactions with humans are very, very different. We're beginning to see, at least for me, I'm beginning to see myself in everything. And that connection, you instantly, how it takes it's very, very difficult to ask someone to snip off their finger, because it's going to hurt, and that ultimately I need that finger. No matter which one it is that you choose, it's going to be missed, something that you would normally do. And when you start to look at everything and see yourself in everything, you naturally fall into balance with it. You don't want to cause harm. You don't need a law to tell you that.
I think, Bob, that what you're saying leads into something that's rather dear to my heart, and it's one of the most important questions I've ever heard asked. And it was in a movie in 1999 called Instinct with Anthony Hopkins and Cuba Gooding Jr.
Oh, yes. Excellent movie.
And Anthony Hopkins says the most important question for man is, can he give up his control? To be more precise with my question, can man give up his dominion and just be part of the whole? Can we give up our dominion and just be part of the whole?
Yep.
So that's why I say I'm a citizen of this world.
It's a different relationship.
Yes.
It's a different relationship that you have with the earth, your brothers and sisters, and I'm talking about all of them, squirrels, all of them. They're all your brothers and sisters. And that relationship is changing. It's changed dramatically for me over the past year. and it continues to do so. And I feel just this intense gratitude, this intense gratitude, and I think it's really, really important for people to move into that feeling of gratitude, that feeling of compassion that Carmelle mentioned earlier, or was that in a private conversation?
Yeah, it was just before we went on the air. I mean, compassion is like it's your key. That's your best key right now. Compassion. Stepping out of judgment, stepping out of those automatic boundary lines that we carry around with us. Just compassion has first for yourself.
Yes, and I was going to say, first for yourself. First for yourself.
I have these funny things falling off of me right now that are being exposed. Oops, there's another one. Oops, gotta forgive me. I forgive me. Now, I forgive the person next to me. I'll go to the store if somebody's having not such a wonderful day and not smiling. I find my compassion for them. Why don't we find our compassion for ourselves? We're really hard on ourselves when we're trying to get something done.
Well, I just want to say to you, Carmelle, I every time I look at that big smile you've got on Skype and I hear your name spoken, I think of Carmelle.
But floats your boat. I don't want to torpedo anybody.
No, just think about how good Carmelle is, and it makes you smile.
Carmelle makes me smile.
Yeah.
Well, that's something else. I said, when do we give ourselves permission during this process, quote unquote, process of healing? Okay, the process of becoming the bigger entity that we really are, the more expanded, the more knowledgeable, the more skillful entity that an eternal entity that we are, essence that we are. Where's our own forgiveness? When do we just stop and say, all right, I'm going to rest today. If I'm sleepy, I'm going to rest today. We do have lots of people who are still quite fascinated with what's happening in the mirror. So much so they can't see the forest for the trees. And the more of those of us who can pull out of it. I'm not saying I stay out of it 24/7, but my goal is to stay out of time as long as I can, for as long a stretch I can. When do we forgive ourselves, and when do we show just a heartfelt compassion? I use pink light. Now, that's just a little something I like to use. Some people use the violet light. Some people use white light. Some people use whatever color light they want to use. I happen to have an affinity with pink light for some reason, although I never wear pink. So when I'm coming up against a reflection of me in the mirror when I'm out and about, the first thing I stop and do is love I have to stop and love myself. I go, oh, what did you just attract to you? Are you not feeling loved? That's a very short conversation. It's a split second where you realize I'm feeling a little off balance here, like I'm giving away my power. Let me get back into my power. I hold my heart for just a fraction of a second. It doesn't take long. It only takes a thought. The next thing we do is we say, okay, now I'm confronting this person who's very prickly. The energy is very staticky, and I may have attracted them, but then again, they may have attracted me. So where's that pink light? I pull out my little tools. Everybody has their little tools, but having them in your hands at the ready is pretty much what's being called for right now. Those of us who are able to see the difference between old time and new time, we can't get away with anything anymore. We really can't. It's like instant karma. Not that I like that word at all, but bam, there you are.
You can't fake it. You can't fake it anymore.
And you can't fake it. You have to really genuinely be in love with that person, because if you don't, it falls like shit right at your feet, and it just instigates more trouble. Now you got to really eat it and say, okay, I'm sorry. So the Ho'oponopono is just a beautiful thing, because however you say, oh, I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you, thank you.
Can I tell a story, Carmelle?
Sure.
There's a crow and a buffalo, and the crow's in a field, and he's sitting there in the grass, and a buffalo comes along and says, "What's wrong, little crow?" And the crow says, I don't know. I can't fly anymore, and my body doesn't feel right, and I think I might be dying. And the buffalo looked at him and said, well, if you eat that right there on the ground for 3 days, your body will be right, and you'll feel fine again, and you can fly and do all the things you used to do. And the crow looked at what he was indicating, and he said, you've got to be kidding me. That came from your backside. You want me to eat that for 3 days? And the buffalo said, well, everyone has free will. If you choose not to, don't eat it. But if you choose to eat it for 3 days, your body will be repaired, and you'll be just fine. And the crow said, well, I'm probably going to die anyway, so I'll go ahead and eat it. And you come back and check on me. And the buffalo said, okay, I will. So 3 days went by, and the buffalo came back, and the crow was there in the field. And buffalo said, how you feeling today, little crow? And the crow said, well, I feel much better. I think I can fly. Would you mind waiting here to see if I can fly again? He said, sure. So the crew took off, and the crow was flying just fine, and he came back and landed on the buffalo's back. And thank you, Mr. Buffalo. I can't believe that works. Oh, my God, I'm free again. Thank you so much. And Buffalo said, well, anytime you start feeling bad, just come back and eat that for 3 days, and you'll be fine again. And the crow said, thank you. I'll do just that. And he took off flying. And the crow was flying, and about 2 hours later, he got kind of tired. And so he decided to land in a tree and rest his wings for a while. And he's up in the tree, and he's feeling so good, and he's not down there on the ground. He's away from trouble and away from harm. And he looks down, and he sees a hunter with a shotgun. And he's so happy because he's up in the tree, he's away from the ground, he's not in any danger whatsoever because that hunter is dangerous. And the hunter looks up and he sees that crow and he's thinking, oh my God, there's one of those birds that warns everything else in the woods that I'm around and runs it. So he pulls his shotgun up and boom, shoots the crow. Falls down dead. And so the moral of the story is, bullshit will take you all the way to the top, but it won't keep you there. How'd you like that one, Carmelle?
I'm snickering.
Technically, in your story, it was buffalo shit.
Buffalo shit, right? Good old Tom. Learning to be I love Native American stories. The language in which most the Native American stories are told. It's just a beautiful, casual, absorbable, loving language. And there's a story that I used to read to my children a long time ago. It's called Crow and Weasel by Barry Lopez. If you can grab a copy of this in the library, give it a wonderful listen. It's a lovely story of a human adventure of two young men who are learning to be upright human beings, and they encounter all of the elements and other people, etc., and animals, etc. And it's just a lovely story about how they have to confront their own insecurities and their own self-judgment and their own piousness and arrogance, etc. And it's just beautiful. So if you can grab that and have a listen, or if you can get it on audio, he actually will read it for you in the library. There's a copy of him, the author, reading it. But it's a beautiful story. So anything, any tools, I don't care if it is a cow shit story, anything that helps lift you up and keeps you moving, keeps you happy, is a good thing. I mean, right now it's a good thing, and it's awfully easy to get heavy at this point when there's such anticipation. There's this great anticipation, and it makes people anxious and agitated, and knocking at the door, open. So lightening up is a good thing.
I just wanted to say the question came up about where's Julien. Julien is in the process of moving into his new home. So he couldn't be with us this weekend, but he's fine. He would have loved to join the conversation, but it's on the weekend, and it's the only time that he actually has that he can actually make the move. So he's in the process of moving, and anyone who's moved knows how busy that can be, how chaotic that can be. So he will be back next week, for those of you who are questioning. Okay.
Also, I guess on that note, I'm going to be missing next weekend. I have a family thing to do, so I'm just letting everybody know, so you don't ask him next week. Yeah, we miss Julien too.
Yes.
Julien.
Yes. But as you were saying before, it's really important for us to be centered in that spot of compassion. And for those of you who are tuned in right now, you're going to find that you have been in training your whole life for this time. That you have tools, and the experiences that you're going to be drawn to are going to be ones that you can make a very decisive difference. It's really important for people to move into action. We spent so much time preparing. Well, here we are. It's here. So we can offer first that compassion for ourselves, but also for others who are struggling, those who are just coming to terms with a lot of this new reality. Me and Brian were on a show. I guess that was only a couple days ago. Seems like it was last week, but just this past Wednesday, where we had to literally expose from the beginning about the whole deception, what happened when the bankers took over and the governments being corporations. And for this audience, it was brand new. And we were saying it, we were coming off with the information like it was just matter of fact. And of course, this and this and this and this. And, everybody was just kind of like staring at us with their mouths open, like, to have that dropped on you, and a lot of people are just coming to this information now. To have that dropped, like just in the Matrix, it caused him to vomit. The reality.
The reality was so distressing.
Yes.
No. Yes. Yeah, well, if you have a posse, like everybody in the 5D radio network and other radio networks, these people are your posse. These are the people who help you to reflect the joy that you want to be in, the optimism that you want, that you're looking for, and action should be inspired, not by force, not by any of the 3D paradigm shoulds and musts. It has to be, what does my heart want to do right now? Again, if my heart says my body's a little tired, I'm going to lay down. Okay, I'm just going to go lay down. If my heart says, let me go take a walk and go speak to the hummingbirds. Everybody's seeing these hummingbirds right now. I'm watching the chat room. Or the butterflies, or the dragonfly. I had a conversation with a dragonfly the other day. Find your posse. It doesn't have to be the old time reality, same old, circle of quote-unquote friends that are slowly dissolving from your life somehow, some way, as you noticed. And even family members are making changes as well. So,
you know what? I look at it this, for every person that moves out of your life, it's just clearing a space for someone new. It's just clearing a space for something new to come in. And I look at it that way because, there's a lot of clearing that's taking place right now. And it's not always comfortable. It just isn't. Sometimes it's downright painful. The end of a relationship, it can be very painful. And so I try to keep things in perspective, to keep a certain perspective on things, understanding what is actually going on. Because in the end, they're going to get it too. It may not be at the same time. No. Their trigger point may be further down the road. Everybody has planned their own triggers in their own time for them. And in the end, everybody hugs.
We say that. We say that from a perspective of a me and them. When it's not like that, really, energetically, I know everybody knows this. I know everybody knows that I am another yourself. However that makes you feel, That it happens to be truth. We are fingers on the same hand. So when we say, well, they won't wake up until later, when I wake up and stay awake, my whole reality will come with me. That reality will come with me. So, we keep getting these questions in the chat rooms, and we're having these conversations about, when do you think it will happen? When will I see evidence of it in my outer reality? Well, first of all, when you start looking for it, really looking for it, and like you're looking for your lost keys. And you know what? When I lose something like that, it doesn't look like what you think it looks like. And as soon as you say that out loud, bam, what you wanted is like right there. You looked there a billion times before and you never saw it. You couldn't see it. So shifting your own frequency helps you shift what you're seeing in your outer reality. And then seeing other people lagging behind, quote unquote, it goes away. There is nobody lagging behind. Nobody's lagging behind. Everybody's going the same way. So I always get like a little fur ball when I hear that. It's like, wait a minute, that's separation. And I am separate. So I just wanted to say that out loud.
Well,
thank you. Thank you for listening.
No, just to add to what you were saying, if I may, back in 2008, I was very ready to go. That hasn't changed very much, but I said it. I'm done. Then I had the open mouth insert foot moment where I said the word "but," and I said, "But if you guys would like me to stick around for any number of reasons, you have to give me at least one reason to get up every day." And oh, if I had only known the landmine I was stepping on, because 2 months later, the Sasquatch people came into my life physically, and I saw them, and I'm going, I'm screwed now. They must want me to stick around.
Yes, you want to stick around. You want to stick around. Don't you want to see how this turns out? I don't know. I know a lot of people who have had opportunities to bug, to just, come back later maybe, see how it turns out later. But I know more people who are going, oh, this is titillating. It's so exciting you can't look away, and yet, it's already done. We already know it's done. Look, Bob's already, he's having the visions of tsunamis and speeches that say, just hang on and watch what we're going to do next, and you kind of get excited when you hear these kinds of translations from people's experiences, their inner experiences. And that's the other thing. How many of us are all, with our eyeballs in the outer world reality, watching things move and click and shift into place as they are, and, taking our eyes off of the simplicity of what you're dealing with right now. Somebody said the animals, and let's go back to the animals. The animals are having conversations with us. They're wanting to talk to us. I got a dragonfly it landed about 5 feet away from me on the rail of the deck. And I said to it, oh, how lovely you are. Can you come a little closer so I can see you a little better? And it did. It flew up, and it moved a foot closer, and it landed. And I said, oh, whoa, that was neat. Can you do it again? Can you come a little bit closer so I can see you a little better? Now, 3 times, this dragonfly moved for me, with me, in cooperation. I asked nicely. So why can't we ask nicely, like somebody wrote a beautiful letter today to Team Contrast? We should read that. Bob, do you have it? Do we have that? I mean,
it's in one of the chat rooms.
I'll get it. Hold on. I mean, this is a really beautiful example of compassion and changing what you're looking for. So hold on. Let me find it for us. I'll send it to you. All right. This was to Team Contrast. It was posted by American Kabuki today. So you can go to his blog, americankabuki.blogspot.com. You can read this for yourself. Now, he translated it for us. He wrote it in glyph that for the benefit of those who can read that glyph. And then he came back because everybody went, what are you talking about there, Bill? And so now we know. So it says, to Team Contrast. Now, this is a love letter. We felt your moment of despair today. Your services are no longer required. The experiment has concluded. You excelled at the role you played. Bravo. Job well done. time to repurpose your being and doing. Love and protection awaits those who stand down and operate in complete transparency and truth to bring resolution and completion to the experiment on Earth and other realms. Eternal essence will enforce against the embodiments who choose otherwise. Choose wisely. We love you. Come home to the love of the Prime Creator Source. You've been away for far too long and have forgotten your home. This is why you fear. There is nothing to fear in love. There is no loneliness in love. There is no despair. No prodigal son or daughter is turned away when they return home. No, it's a beautiful thing, and who here can't read this and not be able to say that to themselves?
And Carmelle, I want to thank you, because I've been saying since 2010, when the whole fear thing about December 21st broke out, I've been telling everyone, it's not the date, it's what you choose. The only thing that stands in front of you is choice, and you just read that, and that validates what I've said for the last 3 years. So I thank you for that.
Well,
thank you.
Yeah, we this is this is Team Bridge. That came from Bill. He found the inspiration. You wait for the inspiration to act, and when you do act, it's often quite perfect. So we all thank him for issuing that out into the ethers. It's been heard, it's been read, I'm sure.
No, Bob, may I take a moment and give a shameless plug on your show?
Please do. Go ahead.
Okay. To the white women that are out there, I want to say I'm eligible. To the Indian women on the East Coast, I am shack-upable. And to the Indian women on the West Coast, I am snaggable. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, I love you, Tommy.
Well, as a woman, that's really curious. Why'd you make that announcement? I want to know what's going on, man.
You know what they say? If you want people to know that they're steak for dinner, you got to let them hear it sizzle.
That's right.
Anyway, I want to open up the call lines for anyone who is listening to share your experiences with this new energy, and or if you have questions, the call-in number is 646-716-4598. And for those of you who are calling, I didn't announce before, if you hit the number 1 button on your keypad, it will let me know that you have a question, and I will open your line. Otherwise, don't press anything, and I'll think that you're just sitting there listening. But if you do have a question, hit 1 on the dial pad, and that will alert me on the switchboard. So,
I hope some people got a chuckle out of my shameless plug. Thank you, Bob.
I'm sure they have, and somebody out there may even take you up on that, Tommy.
Oh boy.
Well, he put it out there. He just broadcast
it. You know what they say?
How it's not going to get picked up.
Careful what you ask for.
Yeah, right? Well, call yourself an angel. Call in an angel. So anyway, yeah, things are really popping and sizzling. And again, I look at it through the frequency of 5 for August. That talks about unexpected events and new friends and lots of changes, and most of all, the deep, deep, unavoidable sensation of the need for expansion. So I guess that could be a way to look at what's happening right now as far as timing, and everything's all humming right, in perfection. Or you might end up with a harem, Tom.
Wow.
Good luck with that one.
Thank you. There was an astrologist back at the beginning of August. I put the video on. I'll find the link. She talked about a trine, which is like a triangle in astrology with 3 planets that were lining up, coming into the root chakra, and another trine that was coming in from the crown chakra. And when these 2 trines come into alignment with each other, it makes us the Star of David, right in the center of us, which is what everybody calls the Merkaba, which is the light ship that's in all of us.
Isn't
Go ahead.
Isn't that the same configuration of the latest astrological alignment?
Yeah.
Yes, that's what she was talking about.
Yeah.
Right. And it's really, the 2013 is a 6 global year, and the symbol for a 6 global year is the Star of David. It's the Merkaba. So, all these little signs and signals are just validation that everything is right where it's supposed to be, and so be excited, be joyful, and drop your junk and sweep it up and lovingly bury it someplace with gratitude. And whoever that comes from, whether that comes from what you're looking at in the mirror, in the love letter from American Kabuki, or whether it's from your close community or from within yourself. Everybody's healing right now.
Okay, we're going to hit our switchboard. We have our first caller, area code 770. Your mic is live.
Hi, Bob. This is Rhoda calling from Atlanta.
Rhoda?
Yes.
Hello, Rhoda from Atlanta.
Hi, how are you? And I am RCC 0630 in the chat room. I just wanted to talk a little bit about the energy that I'm feeling. And as I put in the chat room, I was blessed to have twins. And I remember the last 2 weeks of the pregnancy felt exactly like I'm feeling now. I just want to sit around and think about it and breathe and eat and sleep. But I just want to wait for the event, And I'm thinking, am I insane here? Because there's still something called a 3D life that I may need to participate in. But that's not what I want to do. I am just focused on sending love and compassion and forgiveness for myself and everyone that I can think of, and try to taper it with a little wisdom. But all I am doing is basking in what comes next, enjoying the present for sure, because it's beautiful, a beautiful summer in Atlanta. Lots of rain and lots of green, and that's all I really want to do. So to hear other people having the same experience and having that anticipation is a wonderful thing.
Yes.
I would say that you must be, all of you women who are feeling this, you are very, very much so connected with Gaia, because this is exactly what's happening to her. She is in the birthing process, and the fact that so many people are coming. Like I said, I've not been pregnant, so I can't relate.
Understand.
But it is encouraging to hear, because this is what we've been waiting for, the birthing of a new reality.
Absolutely.
And I can't wait to see what it looks like.
Yep. That's how I felt then, and that's how I feel now. And I wasn't disappointed then, and I know I will not be disappointed now. It's the same.
So you were
process.
surprised then you got twins, or were you already expecting?
Oh, I knew. I knew from the time I was 7 weeks pregnant. But I've been nurturing this I've been on a so-called spiritual path for about 20 years, and for the past 3 years I have been nurturing this and longing for it and anticipating. And when OPPT showed up, the minute I read the first paragraph, I knew what it was. And I was so glad that I was not trying to make this happen by myself, because, I was going to try and do that. So I'm so grateful. I'm just so grateful to have so many wonderful people to share this journey with.
Well, thank you for
Bob,
sharing, because, yeah?
I was the one that sent you that did anyone ever tell you? Remember a couple of weeks ago I sent you that song?
Oh, that song. Yes,
yeah.
Thank you, Rhoda.
Absolutely.
It actually brought tears to my eyes. That was so nice and kind of you.
And I put the link for that astrologer on July 28th when she published that, right before the Stargate opened up on July 29th. So The links are in Skype chat, Bob, if you want to share it with the chat room.
Yeah, I will.
Okay, so I will hang up now and continue listening. I love you all in the chat room and and you guys who are, carrying on the programming. It's a wonderful thing. Thank you so much.
Thanks for your participation and love.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes. Thank you for coming. Thank you for calling in.
Sure. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bob, Jerry has a poem.
Jerry's got a poem.
She's got a poem that's pertinent to the topic.
Okay, I'm going to bring her in. Jerry always has great poems. Okay, Jerry, I'm trying to call you.
Uh-oh.
What, did she fall off? Did she fall off?
Okay, we had her briefly.
He's trying to bring you on, Jerry, if you'll just answer your phone.
Let's see. Maybe she's on the switchboard.
Am I here now?
Yeah, you're here now.
I'm here now. Here I am.
There you are.
Hi there.
Oh, you know what? I didn't realize that you were in on the switchboard. I see you down there, down at the bottom, Jolly Jerry.
Yes, that was me.
I'm sorry.
I was hiding down there.
But I had you on my contact list, so I just brought you into our...
That works too.
Where's she from? Where are you from, Jerry, if I may ask?
I'm from southwest England, a place called Bath.
Oh, okay.
Bath Spa. Yes, it's very beautiful. Actually, it's the part of the world where all those crop circles are usually found. A lot of them, the Wiltshire and that sort of area. That's the area I'm from. Yeah, Stonehenge isn't too far away either.
Well, congratulate me, Jerry, because I dated a woman from Cambridge, England for 2.5 years and survived.
Ah, didn't you do well?
I was trained rather nicely.
There you go. Did you learn to speak proper, like I do?
To some degree, yes. But that's been about 10 years ago.
We always have to say that because where I come from, they have an accent. It's who are, you talk like that, And our Mara, when I was young, she said, "Oh yeah, you were not talking like that." So she said, "You have to learn to speak properly." So I learned to speak properly instead of talking with a West Country accent because you don't speak like that. Because you come from Somerset and then you say, "Oh are." How big?
I learned all the very subtle ways that I can be insulted by an Englishwoman, okay?
Well, I was an English teacher over in Europe, and I was always asked the question, do you speak English or American?
Yeah, right, English or American. There is a very large difference, actually.
There is a difference.
Yeah. I've kind of got it sorted now, but I still speak English, unless American doesn't understand me, then I speak American English, so...
So you have a poem for us?
Well, yes, I have one I think I've shared before, but it kind of fits in with what you're talking about today because it's called Heaven on Earth. And
do share.
Yes, so it says, I am dreaming of heaven on earth. It's not long until this birth. Day by day, people become aware this very moment is very rare. Look within, feel who you are. You are a wonder, you are a star. Find your true self, chock full of love. Be that pure soul you've been dreaming of. Give love to others, feel it return. It is not long until we all learn that we're here to live peaceful lives and to create all sorts of perfection. Let's open the gate. Open your heart, open your mind, and in your life you will soon find nothing but happiness, wonder and bliss. Humanity and earth are so ready for this.
Lovely.
Bravo.
Perfect.
Yeah. Open, right?
It's so appropriate at this time, I think, don't you?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
it is.
It's sometimes, I was really appreciative of the previous caller as well because, she said, yes, it does feel like a birth. It feels exactly like I'm getting ready to give birth. Now, there are no words. All the women who have gone through this have this experience, but I challenge them to find words for the sensations and the feelings that are going on when that's occurring. And so you guys get the closest facsimile to it, with these energy frequencies of this expansion, so the new you can come out at this point. That's a beautiful poem.
Yes,
it's appropriate. Now, you asked about how we're all feeling, and I've got this sort of like air of excitement, but it's just sort of sitting underneath. So that, because on top of that, which is the opposite to it, I'm very calm. I'm sort of more patient with everything. I'm more patient with like questions and stuff, and I'm very patient waiting for this to happen. But I'm really excited about it. So I'm kind of getting a balance with the two things. It's kind of interesting to see it, and I've changed. I for the last several years, I've been very diligent with my meditation, but I've turned my meditation into a contemplation. And instead of just trying to sit and quiet my mind, I sit and I ask my mind some questions, and I'm like, okay, what do I need to know today? Why am I here? Who am I? That sort of thing. And I'm getting some very interesting answers, which is like really cool. So, the whole thing is really wonderful. I mean, one of the answers I got, who am I? I am love, light, strength, beauty, intelligence, perfection, continuous, tremendous, all-powerful, beyond human imagination. Why am I here in this physical body? Enjoyment, pleasure of physical motion and movement, creativity, spontaneity, to feel love physically, to meet my embodied soul family of all species, to learn to work my magic in physicality, to enjoy the physical feelings not experienced in the non-physical, including the vibrations of music, to have fun in complete freedom. Music's something, I sit here and I just lap in some beautiful music and I dance. I'm usually sitting, I've got this little area in my room that I sit and I've got all my kind of stuff, and I just go in this kind of place zone and I dance, sort of sitting to the music, and I get such feelings of joy. I mean, it's incredible. I just feel so joyous. So it's just there. It's just sitting waiting.
Well, this is wonderful to hear somebody, that was beautiful, by the way. That was just like amen.
Mm-hmm.
And you also, which I think is a boon for you. You also have a gift of an animal family.
Yes.
Who they don't, they're not going to let you sit down. They're not going to let you wallow. They're gonna keep you at your brightest and most perky.
They do.
I want to get to the switchboard again. We got another caller.
Great.
Area code 818. And Jerry, I'll leave you on. You can comment as you wish. Join us.
I'll mute for now.
Area code 818, your mic is live.
Can you hear me, Bob?
I can. Who do we have?
Nice to talk to you. This is Ken in California. I've been listening to you for roughly about 8 months now. Appreciate everything you've done.
Oh, thank you, Ken, from California.
Welcome. Yes,
and
I've actually been to Pennsylvania a couple of times. Actually, when I was younger, I played in a baseball tournament in Johnstown, Pennsylvania. I don't know if you're familiar with that area at all.
I know where Johnstown is. Yes, it's
quite an interesting little place.
Yes, Pennsylvania is nice. It's a beautiful country.
My question was pretty simple, and excuse me, I'm not so far advanced on some of the things that you guys are talking about, but I wanted to ask a simple question to the room from a husband's or a provider's point of view. And I'm trying to do everything I can to become more aware and more informed and more educated and to do and be. But that nice list of things that Jerry just expressed, which I also feel that I am becoming, and in some parts already am, I would also have to add provider onto that list. I wanted to see if I can get a few comments from you guys on how a dad or a husband would balance, unfortunately still having some ties to the current corrupt system when it comes to mortgage and when it comes to co-workers and when it comes to other people's, personalities and emotions and, in the relationships that you're in versus trying to become as conscious and as aware as possible, because I also have other responsibilities as well. How would you approach, what we're going through now with these frequencies and the energies of how someone could balance the two and not have, those other negative things, stop my progress in becoming more aware? Could someone maybe comment a little bit on that?
Well, I'm going to speak plainly to you, Ken.
Please.
When you ask that question comes from a place that you feel as though things are out of balance. So I would say that there's a part of you that already knows what you have to do in order to balance that out. But the practical advice that I would give to you is stop doing the things that you don't want to do. Stop doing the things that you really, really, that don't resonate with you anymore. And that sometimes is a huge leap of faith because you don't know where you're stepping into, but you know what you're stepping out of. And another thing that I would suggest for you is there is an influx of female energy, which is one that's more allowing and accepting. I would say to apply that to yourself. And I'm doing a reading right now, so I don't know how this applies to you personally, but accepting yourself and all of the things that you may consider flaws or weaknesses, accepting that side of yourself as being okay and being perfect. Does that make sense to you?
Yes, and I appreciate those comments very much, and I'm going to try to bring that more into my thought and more into my everyday being every moment of the day. Actually, the people that I'm around, some of the most amazing person that I know and am with is a female, and she's basically brought me more aware of all of this stuff, as well as listening to you guys over the past year or so. So I'm eternally grateful. I guess the main block, and it kind of exactly what you said, that it's that leap of faith, knowing that everything will be okay and everything will still be provided.
There's also a male patterning that we adopt, and we it's kind of indoctrinated into us over time. That the man is supposed to provide, and the man is supposed to do this, and the man is supposed to, and the man is supposed to. That is very, very old paradigm. The man is not supposed to anything. There is no, what works for one family may not work for another. But what I would say to you is getting in touch with yourself, and this is the advice I'm giving you, getting in touch with yourself and forgetting a lot of those old paradigms, because things work differently, and it's not according to a lot of the ways that we've been taught, that things should be or way things are supposed to be, because we've been following that all along, and look at where it's got us.
That's a good point. And actually the key point that my mate has been trying to tell me is to try to forget about all those old paradigms and to make sure that you're trying to think, about how things are now and the things that, the way that they've changed. So I really appreciate that. It's kind of from some of the people that I'm really admire there and take their advice seriously are kind of saying the same thing. So I got to believe that there's some merit to that. So
can I
thank
say
you very
something?
much.
Before
Can I just say something? Can I just say something before I forget?
Yeah.
Before the end of the show, Bob, can you please repeat your email or your blog address too? The other day when I was listening to your show with Brian and the history thing you were talking about before, I couldn't write it down. So maybe before the end of the show.
The easiest way to reach me is bobwright@5dmedia.com.
Okay.
Well, that would be great. Yes, go ahead, ma'am. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
That's okay. This is Carmelle, and I just want to speak to this on behalf of the yin energy. You know, when you were telling your story, you were telling it from your perspective and from the history of the old time training that I really do have a lot of compassion for the role of male in the old time, reality, because it was just really quite boxed in for you all. I want to play the role of a good man and a good provider, but I also know that for me to possibly become where I need to go, I also have to dedicate more
forgiveness and more time to myself. And I'm just trying to balance those two.
But let me tell you about women and what women want. Nobody, ask us what women want, Women want a partner who is truthful, who stands up in their beliefs, who, of course, if you're respecting the energy that your yin is sharing with you, and the tenderness and the nurturance that your yin is sharing with you, and encouraging you to stand in your truth, you might want to really speak with her more on this, and as a partnership, take baby steps together. She wants you to stand up and do this if she's speaking to you about these kinds of things. Everybody's you're going to eat and you're going to have a roof over your head as long as you're not dwelling in lack. So we those women who are awake, who have our hearts and our families right there in front of us, who were active. She created you, you created her. She's asking you to stand in your truth. She wants to do this with you. A lot of times men don't listen when women are speaking. They hear our chatter, when we're puttering through the house. But to listen when she's asking you and saying, yeah, do this. Trust me, she's going to be so turned on that there's not going to be a no coming out of her mouth. She's going to give you her truth, and she's going to stand with you and help you with it. It shouldn't be all on one person.
There you go.
It's a partner.
That's exactly what I was getting.
And each one of you will, because the paradigm within your lives are changing, you each are going to start doing different things and playing different kinds of roles and bringing out new skills to contribute to the partnership and the empire that you guys sustain together. So there are no hard and fast rules besides listen to your heart. And if you love and trust your mate, and she's on this page, she's encouraging this, to have heart-to-heart conversations with her about no fear, helping you through the fears that you've been indoctrinated into adopting.
I'd like to add to what you're saying, Carmelle, if I can.
No, go ahead.
And Bob, if you'd put this link in the chat room for everybody, Abraham Hicks explains what Carmelle just talked about very succinctly, because every subject is a wanted part of everything. And so really every subject becomes two subjects. You either focus on what you want or the lack of what you want. And the law of attraction in the cosmos doesn't care what you want. It's just responding to the drum you're beating. So if you're beating the drum on the lack of what you want, it's going to hear that, and it's going to give that to you in life, the lack of what you want. So you have to stay focused on what you want. And she describes that very succinctly. And now, to Carmelle, I want to say to you, some of us men do listen, because there's a lot of men that do listen to women, and we are fully aware of the 3 pages of script that go with one word issued from a woman's mouth. And that word is fine.
Okay. Just as long as you heard me.
Well, I can tell you,
I don't think that you have a problem being heard.
No.
Thank you, Bob. I like to be clear.
Well, I just wanted to thank you. I just wanted to thank you all for your comments. And I had one question for Mr. Hughes, if he could just comment. And I don't know if you're aware of, there was a clip about a week ago on Fox News, about a 20-second clip of a so-called Bigfoot or a Sasquatch that was in British Columbia, in Vancouver, British Columbia. Did you have a chance to notice that clip? And if you had any comments, I would kind of appreciate that.
I didn't see the clip, but I know that they're coming out more and more. And so, as I said, I'm dealing with a woman in Canada about 2 hours north of Buffalo, New York. I'm dealing with another person in Canada over in British Columbia. I'm also dealing with a man here in Texas that he gets a little scared at times because he's not used to dealing with such big people. But just a funny side story on that. one night he was saying to me over the phone that he was tired of hearing them walk around behind him. And I said, well, you can change all that. If you just stand up right now and say loudly into the woods, why don't you guys, I'm tired of hearing you walk around behind me. Why don't you throw a branch over my head or something? Well, it was so loud over his cell phone that I could hear it about 2 minutes later, and he kind of freaked out about it. But there were 3 really big cracks of limbs off of trees because they were breaking limbs, and he got scared. What are they doing? I said, well, you said it. You'd like to have a limb come flying over your head, and they're breaking limbs off trees.
Wow. I'd probably have been a little freaked out on that, too.
Yeah, it never really has. No, I could say this. I said it in the interview with Lisa, and I'll say it again. When I saw the one that is close to 12 feet tall in the daylight, in person, it wasn't scary. It was a moment of frustration because I have vertigo, and so I have to look down to make sure I'm not stepping on anything that will have me laying on the ground. And so I looked down and took 3 steps forward, and when I looked up, he was gone. And I was shouting loudly in the woods, my God, you're 3 times my size, and you're the one leaving? What is this? So, seeing them in person, and I've had to put up with so much flack from so many people back in the day when I first started 5 years ago, because there were people who've been doing this for 20 and 30 years, and they've never seen one. And I've been doing it for 3 months, and I've seen him 5 times already, and I'm going, well, I don't know what you're doing, but it's not the same thing I'm doing. So Diane Fossey was a really big hero of mine when I first started because she was obviously dealing with primates that were so much bigger than her. So I took some of my cues from her. That's what I can say.
Thank you for your comments. And Bob, I will definitely be in touch on email, and appreciate all you guys do. You guys have a wonderful day, okay?
Thanks for calling, Ken.
Thanks, Bob.
Okay, we have area code 617. Your mic is now live.
Hello, Bob. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Oh, this is Mike the mailman from Boston. How is it going?
Hello, Mike from Boston.
Hi, Mike.
Hi, long time, no call. I've been listening, been following everything, just haven't had a chance to call in. Just want to express all my love and gratitude for everything that you all do.
Well, thank you.
That's lovely.
Now, Mike, I have to ask you a question. Since you have the name Mike, I have to ask you a question before you go any further.
Sure.
I just want to make sure that you're not the kid we all see on that Life cereal TV commercial, okay?
No, that is not me. Hi, Mikey. I think you like it. Yeah. No, that would not be me. That's a little before my time, but
you're dating yourself, Tommy.
It wouldn't be the first time I've heard that, though. Me and every other Mike in Eternal Essences universe. I had a comment, Bob, on your interview that you and Brian did the other day with, what was her name? Sierra, I think her name was?
Sierra Neblina, yes.
Yes, it was so beautiful. I loved every moment and I must have listened to it 3 times already.
Oh, wow, that's great.
Yeah, I think it was just chock full of information, and I think that the more people who are not kind of into this information are getting the information, I think it's kind of really starting to have an effect on everybody. Even it's spreading, basically. It's spreading like wildfire, I should say.
People are definitely waking up because it's not hard to see something's wrong.
Right, for sure. It's like you can tell that there's like a little splinter. It's almost like a splinter. You can walk around with the splinter, but it's there and it's annoying. And so finally, we're kind of addressing the splinter and trying to remove the splinter in a way.
Yes. And the more that people like you. Oh, we're getting some feedback there. I don't know if that's coming from Blog Talk or that's coming from... But the more that you share this information, and this is the time for people... So Tom mentioned, 5 years ago, you used to get ridiculed a lot. You don't get ridiculed anymore. People are not laughing anymore. You're going to find that when you share your truth, right? no matter how ridiculous that truth may sound, people are more apt to listen today than any other time before. You know, and now is not the time to hold back. I think everybody needs to, you know, be brave, share your truth, what you know, because
absolutely,
this is the 100th monkey taking effect.
Yes,
absolutely.
Yeah.
I did have one particular question, and I know in the long run, in the grand scheme of things, this question will be answered. It's really inevitable, really. But just out of my own personal eternal essence, experiencing third dimensional reality, I do have a child on the way in October, a boy, and I was wondering, in regards to everything I'm learning about birth certificates and registrations, I'm wondering what, again, I understand that grand scheme, this question is irrelevant, but I'm wondering about what is the process of not registering or not birth certificating, you know, registering my child with the corporation. And again, I should say this one more time, that I do understand that it will all be reconciled at some point on the mass scale. So, but you know, since it's coming so fast, I'm like kind of debating on what to do in that regard, as far as like, okay, child being born, register it with the corporation, or kind of go rogue, or, you know, be the rebel, stand in my truth, and not register with the corporation. You see what I'm saying? You see where I'm going with this, Bob?
Definitely. I don't know. Did you guys hear any official information regarding that? Because I've always had the thought that if you just don't accept the birth certificate, I'm not sure what will happen. But
right.
You know, so you're going to probably want to talk to people who've already done that. But that's really important to, like, not put them on the grid to begin with if you have the wherewithal to do so.
Totally. And I know I have a daughter already, and she is obviously registered, as most of us are. It was just more of, now all this new information is coming to light about strawman and about, you know, like I said, the Corporation of the United States, and I was just more curious as to, you know, because I've already gone down the road of not vaccinating, so I'm already kind of in a rogue area as it is, you know, as far as like mainstream people go. So it's easy to, I mean, not easy, but it's just one of those questions I had, like how far, you know. I remember somebody on one of the calls said, you know, at some point you either go all in or you go, you know, there's no halfway. So I'm figuring if I'm learning all this and it is all my truth, and I really want to stand in my truth, how far really do I go with this? And it's really difficult because obviously I'm not the only parent of, you know, this newborn child who will be born in October. So it's obviously something that, you know, while I'm hip to all this information and it really resonates with me and I understand it all, talking to her about it and getting her to understand it all and her family to understand it all and my family to understand it all, it really is kind of like an uphill battle, kind of going against the grain. And so it's really a difficult predicament to be in because not everybody sees the reality the way I see the reality and the way many people are seeing the reality nowadays. So it was more of a personal inner peace question for myself. Should I just go with the flow and just kind of go with it and go normal, like, quote unquote normal, and just sign up and just register and then have it all be reconciled later down the line, which I'm sure is going to happen? Or do I, like, stand in my truth right now, even though it'll be, you know, it's kind of like one of those pick your battle type of scenarios.
Well, what do you feel like doing?
Well, that's the thing. I don't. Well, because all this energy is so new, it's really, I guess, a matter of, well, it's like I said, if it all doesn't matter in the long run, if it'll all be, you know, once we go through this monumental shift, once we finish going through this shift, it won't matter anyways. So I feel like.
And everybody's going, okay, now who's going to be first in the chute? You know, that's basically what's happening. So,
right.
You know, you may not want to jump on this, as in I'm gonna do this all the way because I don't feel like I have all the data. I'm going to put in let me just give you this website. You might want to just check out this website. It's called FamilyGuardian.com. No,
Family Guardian.
No. Hold on. It's F as in Fred, sure. A as in Mary, famguardian.org.
Famguardian.org. Okay, cool. Got it.
It's a comprehensive website with all kinds of these kinds of issues going on, and I'm sure somebody in there will be able to lead you to the next place, to the next. So you have to gather your data, but you're dealing with your fear here, and not only are you dealing with your own fear, but you're up against the rest of your tribe.
Right.
Now
exactly.
And that is very, very tentative, because they're either going to love you, or they're gonna put you in a place that you don't want to be emotionally. So in order to make any kind of decision with your own heart first, and then trust that, and let the chips fall where they may, you're going to have to do a lot of research to know what would happen if. So
typically, what will happen if you don't register your baby? They're going to try to intimidate you and tell you that he won't be allowed into the school system. He won't be able to get a job. He won't be able to do this. He won't be able to do that. But there is no law requiring you to register your baby. Because everything is done by consent.
Can I add one more piece of information for this caller?
Sure.
For Mr. Life Serial. I'm going to give this to you, Bob, and if you wouldn't mind posting this in the chat room, I'll read it. This is a Supreme Court decision from 1886, which doesn't have an expiration date because Supreme Court decisions do not have expiration dates. What it says is, sovereignty itself is, of course, not subject to law, for it is the author and source of law. But in our system, while sovereign powers are delegated to the agencies of government, sovereignty itself remains with the people, by whom and for whom all government exists and acts. So, with that being said, that Supreme Court decision, what I would say to you is, if you do participate in their system, make sure they understand that your child's welfare, the one you already have and the one that's about to be born, you're putting in trust to them, and if they abrogate or violate that trust, you will request their bonding agent's name and collect on the bond that's out in their name repeatedly.
Well, doesn't the UCC cover all of that? I mean, if you even started with the UCC and reading that and starting with the basic documents, you may glean enough.
Most people are unaware of that. I mean, we've been doing this. They have brainwashed all of us with this birth certificate and driver's license and all caps name and everything. And that means
when I start talking about stuff like that, like, oh, you don't need a driver's license, you don't need a birth certificate, people's eyes glaze over. Even like close family members and friends, like it's like you said, we really are in a way like brainwashed into a system of documentation and registration, and people really feel like, oh, you don't have a registration for that, you can't do that, or you don't have a license to fish, you can't fish. Like it really becomes the each individual policing each individual instead of just being able to do and be.
Mike, let me just say to you that there have been people out there, Dean Clifford is one of them, that has no driver's license. He hasn't paid taxes in 18 years of any kind, and he lives in Canada, one of the most taxed nations in the world. And police officers leave him alone because whenever they pull him over, he asks them to put their bonding agent's name and post number on the back of the ticket so that he can collect on their bond. All police officers have a bond out against them in case they violate the one thing that is a law, and that is do no harm. That's why everything they have is codes, rules, regulations, statutes, or acts, because they cannot make law. Each individual is the author and source of his own law, and people have forgotten that. Now we're waking people up. So if you want to play in their system, that's fine. Just make sure you understand that you're sovereign. There's no one that can tell you are or you aren't, only you. And you are the author and source of your own law. And it says it right there in that Supreme Court decision.
Yeah, that's actually what I was more leaning towards. Instead of just not registering with the corporation as a whole, registering and like you said, holding them accountable if anything, does go wrong or if anything does happen, instead of just kind of all in all not playing, with them, more registering, like, okay, my daughter's registered, and, they try to intimidate you to vaccinate, and I don't know, everybody it's coming out more and more about vaccinations and how, the chemicals and the poisons that are in those, and so, I stood in my ground, and I held my truth, and I went pretty much against the grain with everybody, telling me that, oh, you can't do that, you need to do this, you need to do that, and my daughter is 2.5 now, and she's maybe been sick twice in her whole entire life, so it is completely it's really liberating to know that some of the truths that that most people or the mainstream tells us are not in fact the truth, and to really stand in your truth is empowering. And I think I'm going to take all of your advice and
Mike, one thing you might want to consider.
Sure.
Right. If it comes to this, right, where in order to save peace, you have to sign the document. And maybe you could talk to your partner about this. Sign everything without prejudice and your name. By doing that, anything that you sign, or even the birth registration or the certificate or anything, when you sign it that way, you are basically retaining all of your rights, and any of the fine print that you've been unaware of cannot be used to harm you.
Totally. So I actually have recently been signing my name that way. So I definitely will talk to my partner, my beautiful wife, about that and discuss it. It's just everybody doesn't see the world the same way, and nobody, not everybody takes 2 hours a day to listen to you guys' awesome information and great, loving radio shows. So it's really but it's happening, though. I can see it happening. There are more and more people waking up every single day, and it's making things a lot easier. Day by day, things are getting easier. And like you guys have been talking, the shift is happening. The energy that is coming into this reality now is amazing. And I'm looking forward to, every day is just an adventure, and looking forward to, what's to come, basically. And I want to say thank you all for all your input and all your love that you guys put out there, because it's definitely felt, and, yeah.
Wonderful, Mike. Wonderful. Yeah, follow your heart, man.
Totally.
Thanks for calling.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one. I love you all.
Bye.
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 And that was it for all of our callers. We're down to our last 20 minutes. And for our last 20 minutes, I'd like to talk about what can we be doing in order to assist, help for ourselves. What advice, and I'll ask each of you, what advice would you give for everyone that they can be doing practically right now to prepare for this shift?
Right now? Well, that's kind of the key word.
That's what. Yes. Right now.
Like now is the key word. If you're now, you don't need to worry about the next. The next will come to you in ease and flow if you're truly now. So, it's the bottom. For me, it's the bottom line that I would always recommend. Somebody said, "I'm freaking out."
A lot of people don't understand what that means to be right here now in the present moment. And what that means is you're not thinking about the past. You're not projecting into the future. You're looking at where you are in this instant in time right now. And right now, regardless of what you think may be impending on you in the future or what your past experience may have been, what is your condition right now? You're obviously alive. You're breathing. Otherwise, you couldn't question this. Right? And pay attention to everything in that moment. Every thought, everything that comes into your awareness. Pay attention to what's going on, especially if what's going on feels bad, if there is pain involved, or if there is any sort of resistance or suffering. That is the time to pay extra attention to what's going on around you and inside you in that moment of right now. Because it is times like that when you're faced with the contrast of what it is that you want to experience. And that is an opportunity always for clearing.
Well, it's an opportunity for you to ask yourself a question. And this is an Abraham game, and this is like the game of the month for me. Which feels better? Being afraid that something might happen, or appreciating and being in my presence right now where everything is okay? Which feels better? So, that being now and being the observer of your emotional state, of where how your heart is humming, is really the key. It's really the key. I mean, you don't have to plan too much. It'll be brought right to you when you're in your presence. You don't have to overplan. You don't have to anticipate. And when you're doing that, you're jumping out of now, and you're hither thither, and you're spreading your energy so thin that you open yourself up to your own fears again. So, or other people's fears. It's like dealing with the previous caller. Well, I got to deal with these people who aren't quite at this place yet, and that makes me feel nervous. So, well, he'll find his way by which feels better. So that's my answer. Now is always the answer.
I was going to say, do that contemplation thing. Just sit there and ask questions to your higher self, and just say, what do I need to know, and what am I feeling? That awareness thing, Bob, I mean, that is just so vital. It is the key to everything. Awareness of knowing how you feel, and not being attached to anything, and just surrender to what is, and just allow the process just to happen naturally, and not be panicking about anything. Just be calm and just allow the whole thing just to happen, but be aware of how you're feeling. And again, like Carmelle says, which feels better, just get that better feeling. Feel good. Do whatever makes you feel good. Just be in that feel good place. That's what I'd say.
Has anybody ever been in a place where your heart was pounding and the adrenaline was rushing, and you were heading into a moment that you were dreading or had tremendous fear and anxiety about, and you didn't know, and you were frozen, and you were absolutely frozen. You couldn't respond, and you couldn't move.
I know what that feels like.
Right? I mean, what a blessing.
Well, the only thing for me, I was moving because I had just been struck by lightning.
What did you say? Say that again.
I said, the only thing about what you said that I don't match is that I could move because I was struck by lightning.
That'll move you.
Talk about your heart racing and being in a fear state, and wow, the language that comes out of your mouth, and yeah. Sorry.
That don't happen every day.
Sorry, Carmelle.
It's all right, Tom. Good.
But all of this, I think, it points down basically to being in the moment, and being aware. There is no, don't assume that anything is wrong. You're in the perfect moment for yourself in every moment, and you just need to pay attention to what that moment is bringing to you. Pay attention to what that moment is offering at that time, and don't have any expectations. We expect a lot, and I've learned from the whole December 21st thing. There's definitely change in the air, but I have no idea how this shift is going to look. I have no idea what it's going to mean physically for us. You know, I have ideas that I contemplate. I have dreams that I have. You know, but what I do know is that the end of this living in illusion will no longer be here. That authenticity, honesty, and transparency will take its place. I do know that the days of judgment, of self and judgment of others will be over. I do know that everybody's needs will be taken care of, that you will no longer need to work to earn a living. I know this is coming. How and what form it will take place, I don't know.
That's perfect. That was perfect. On my webpage, it's the Empress of Time at blogspot.com. I wrote something so long ago. I was sitting and having a meditation, and what you just spewed out of your mouth was just perfect. And it coincides with the 4 things that we know for sure. The first thing that we know is everything will work out perfectly for everyone somehow. Second thing we know is when confronted with an obstacle, it doesn't look like what you think it looks like. It's often illusion when there's an obstacle involved. Number 3, nobody's insanity is more superior to anybody else's. I am another yourself. So, you know, there comes the compassion and the non-judgment. And the 4th thing is the cure for anything that is out of alignment in your experience is returning to your now presence. And from there, you don't have to think about it too much. It'll just unfold for you in perfection. So yeah, there's only 4 things we know for sure. The details are part of the ride. So wanting to know too much about the detail is going to spoil the surprise at the party you keep talking about. I'm bringing casserole.
Do you think everybody's just going to suddenly wake up when this shift takes? Like, we're all awake. We all know that we could live in peace and harmony. We don't need money. We'll just, we'll work out a way how to produce the food, how to help children and animals and whatever. We'll know how it'll work. But do you think everybody's going to suddenly have this realization of who they are, that we are these wonderful, beautiful beings that are just here to help and cooperate? Do you think everybody's going to suddenly go, oh, now I remember? Or is it going to take time and they're all still going to be freaking out?
I would say it'd probably take about 15 minutes is what they showed me.
Yeah, I kind of have a feeling that it's going to be something that everybody experiences, everyone, all at once.
Good. I was hoping that. And I think we'll just work it out. I think we'll work out how to supply all of ourselves with food. I think we'll all just volunteer. Like, I'll do this and you do that, and we'll work it out and we'll supply this and we'll keep everything maintained, and everybody just do a little bit each. Isn't that how it'll work?
Yeah.
That's what I see. Sure.
I think I don't think we need to do all this planning. I think it'll just happen. I told Judy this story the other day. A few years ago, my dear old mum, it was time to move her out. Dad had died, and it was time to move her out of her home where she'd lived for 50 years, where I was born, actually. And we moved her into a smaller apartment. And I have 2 sisters and a brother, and they all live in England. I live over here in the States. We don't see each other very often, but we all arrived there. My sister and my brother had sold the house and bought the apartment. My other sister lives further away, so she and I said, right, we'll do the hardest work of all the shifting stuff. So we did some of that. And then the day came to move, and we loaded all the final remaining furniture and stuff into a couple of vans, and we drove it to the new apartment. And we just started doing. Not one of us said, right, you do this, you do that, you do the other. We just started doing. And we just did it. And within a couple of hours, you'd never believe we just moved in. And, I did the living room. One sister did the kitchen. The other sister did the bedroom. My brother was bringing stuff in and out, and we were all wandering around. Next thing, it was done. We didn't discuss anything about how we were going to operate it. It was just done. And I feel like that's how it's going to happen in a mass way. We're just going to do it.
I like it.
I like that. Yes.
It's just, to me, it just seems natural. We just know. We have got, we all know, we are one. although we're each, this is the thing that always excites me, is that each one of us is just so different, and I'm always on about uniqueness, and I don't want to be like anyone else, but yet we're one being. We're like the cells in a body, aren't we? We're like, each one of us is like a cell that makes the body work, but each cell has a different job, so we all do whatever we're good at. And we like doing. And it's just going to, all this sort of like, repurposing, we have to do this and that and the other, we're going to plan this, plan that, and plan the other. But I think it's just going to happen.
Can I have my turn, please?
Yeah.
Okay.
and we do have one more caller before the end of the show.
Yeah, before you end the show. Well, some of my teachers in life have been, obviously, the Sasquatch people. And when I first started with them, back in 2008, the comment was made to me several times that I think too much. And I said, okay, what are you trying to tell me? Well, you don't feel very much, you think too much. And that's when they started saying to me, get out of your head and into your heart. Get out of your head and into your heart. So thinking about stuff's okay, but make sure you feel. Well, this is what I think about it. What do I feel? And then go into the feeling as well. And see which one works better. Which one resonates with you more. What you feel or what you think. Because thinking just gets me in trouble. That's why I try not to think anymore.
Which feels
better. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel it. Now, I want to give a boon to you women right now. I just point out a couple of facts. Dr. Terry Walls, if you want to see her, Minding Your Mitochondria is the name of the video on YouTube. She talks about how mitochondria, if we didn't have mitochondria in our DNA, we would be the size of a virus. That's how much space mitochondria takes up. I'm saying that because the mitochondrial DNA comes from your mother, and the nuclear DNA comes from your father. So, following that chain or that line of thought, Robert Morning Sky, who Lisa interviewed, and you can find that on YouTube as well, he's a Hopi Indian, and he talks about it like this. The egg that's inside a woman is 16,000 times larger than a sperm cell from a man. So that means by virtue of those statistics alone, every man on the planet is 16,000 parts female and 1 part male. Hello.
Female energy, feminine energy is out there. You all need it.
Definitely. Okay,
did I give a boon to you guys or what?
That was lovely.
It was lovely.
Go ahead, Bob.
We're all that in a bag of chips, right?
That's right.
We have a caller, Sox ORZ, called in through Skype.
Hey.
Are you there?
Hey.
Hello.
I only found your show recently, as in about 15 minutes ago, and it's an interesting show. Are you guys on about the shift, like the consciousness shift?
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I think I've been really interested in that topic for a long time, and I can definitely feel something coming along, and I can definitely feel something that seems shifty, if that's a way to describe it. I'm trying to get more in tune with all that stuff, but it's a bit difficult. I don't know really where to start. I meditate quite a lot now as well. I know that's meant to be good, but is there anything else I can do that could help?
As far as doing is concerned, and I'll give you the same advice that I gave to Ken. Stop doing the things that don't feel good.
Yeah, right.
Just stop doing the things that don't feel good. And that's a tall order, because a lot of people are convinced that they have to, or they're obligated to do these things that society places on them to do. My family's, if I don't finish college, then I'll never whatever. Even though you hate it, you hate the course that you're in, stop doing the things that don't feel good. Get back in touch with what feels good to you and your authentic self. You know,
what have you been doing?
In general, do you mean?
Yeah, what have you been doing for yourself? You're like a little mouse searching out the cheese. What have you been doing? What have you been smelling?
I mean, I've been going. I really wanted to get more in touch with the world and nature, and I mean, I felt I really, really wanted to go across Europe, so I did that. I went through from London through France, Belgium, Netherlands, Germany, and then down and back round.
And how did that feel?
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. I mean, that was amazing. I met some amazing people, seen some amazing things, and done brilliant things. And I mean, when I came back, everything just was turned down, and everything seemed so small in comparison. And I mean, it was difficult to adjust back to society.
Like Frodo coming back to the Shire.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, well, once you can't unknow what you've learned, right? It's hard to shrink back up again.
So you know what? I would say continue your adventure.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have to end.
Follow your fascination.
I mean, I've got to kind of look for a job right now, which I really don't want to do. But I mean, if I don't, I'm not going to be able to pay rent. But I really don't want to.
Well, let's reword this. Let's reword what you just said. Create your reality with your words. I'd like to earn money through doing something fun.
Yeah. I would love that.
These are the things that you can do to get yourself on your own path of expansion through your fascinations and your joy. So watch what you're saying. That would be my advice. Be careful of the words that you're using. You're creating your reality. What were the words you used when you were heading out to Europe to do your expansive adventure? What were the words that you were using?
I want to go to Europe. See ya.
So on those lines, think expansion. Don't think, I have to get a job and I have to succumb to something I don't want to participate in anymore. Bob said it. Don't stop doing things you don't want to do anymore. Just stop doing them. You don't have to have any judgments about them. Just don't give them another thought and look another direction. Look in another way. Follow what feels better.
And don't assume that, what you love to do and what's fun is not profitable, because that's just a lie. It's just a lie. Doing what you love, that's what you're put here to do, because that's what your soul rewards you with when you're doing your soul's purpose. It rewards you with the feeling of joy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's your compass. Let that be your compass. What makes you happy? And get in touch. You got to be in touch with your feelings in order to know. So we're down to our last 90 seconds, and I wish I had more time to talk with you. But what you're doing right now is perfect. You're asking questions, and you're responding to what you're feeling. I feel the shift happening, and you're asking those questions. Pay attention to what you're getting back. Because by asking those questions, it's going to lead you to people and experiences that have the answers.
And what I'll say to you, as you're discovering yourself and discovering things you like about yourself, the one thing I'll ask you to stay focused on is, no matter what happens to you, always be yourself. Don't let anyone sway who you are.
Yeah, that's fantastic. That's brilliant advice. Thanks a lot. Thanks for having me on your show.
Thanks for calling.
Good luck. Have a good time.
You too. Bye.
And at that, I'd like to say goodbye to everyone. Thanks for all the callers who called in, everyone in the chat room. Please tune in next week for us. We'll have Julien back, and also Monday and Tuesday, and the rest of the week for all of the shows on the 5D Media Network. And if you want to hear the archive, it will be available in about 10 minutes right here on Blog Talk Radio. So good night, good day, good afternoon, good morning, everyone.
Good night, everyone.
Cheers,
Miss me. Miss me.
Bye, Tom.
Bye, Tom.
Bye, Jerry.
Bye, Carmelle. Bye, Bob.
Bye, Bob.
Bye.